Hi, in this video we're going to cover references of all sorts. References are really important in Excel, and it's important that you understand how they work. So I'm going to cover 4 different types of references: relative, absolute, and 2 mixed reference types. So let's start with relative. So in this relative, I'm going to select cell C2. So I'm just going to type equal and then click on cell C2. And you can see that it equals the cell exactly. What's really powerful about Excel is that when I drag this down by using the bottom right corner and the cross shows up, is that what was C2 became C3 and then C4 when I dragged it down. Then I can select these 3 and drag it to the right, and those C columns become the D columns, as you can see, and those numbers are replicated. So you can see this if you make these numbers more decimal places. So now let's look at the absolute reference. So let's do, if we type in C2 again, or we could just click it as I did before. You can do these little dollar signs, but the easier thing is there's a shortcut in Excel. It's F4, and then it goes to the absolute reference. So then we'll hit enter. Let's see what happens. So the same thing happens. It's still cell C2. Let's drag and see what happens. The nice part about absolute reference is sometimes you don't want the cell reference to change, and that's what happens when you do this. So then let's drag it across and see what happens. Same thing. So the absolute, the 2 dollar signs will never ever change. Great. So now let's go ahead to the mixed reference. And again C2, and then we can hit F4 once and F4 again, and that's one of the mixed references. So let's see what happens when we drag down. So when we drag down, it's the same as the absolute reference. So it doesn't change at all. Let's see when we drag across. So what happens is when we drag down, the reference doesn't change. But when we drag across, it does change. And that's the big difference between absolute and mixed references, is that absolute references never change, and mixed references only change in one direction. So let's see the last one to show you what I mean. And we hit F4 again 3 times to get this mixed reference. And let's see what happens when we drag down. So dragging down, the reference changes, and dragging across, it doesn't change. So this may not seem very useful now, but we'll go ahead and watch the next video and it'll seem much more useful. Thank you for watching.